What's up, party people? This is Jose Heredia with the CrossFitters Show here in the city of Pasadena. As you can see behind me, you'll see one of the most famous icons on New Year's Eve, which is a rose float from the Rose Parade. And we're here to check out what we have as far as audio for one of these floats. We're actually at the Cal Poly Pomona float. We got a very exclusive pass to be able to be inside here, and we're going to check it out and see what they got as far as sound. I was told that is very impressive, and let me just describe to you how it feels to be in here. It's kind of cold, so I have my beanie and my sweater, and it smells wonderful. It smells like roses, as you might imagine. So we're going to go ahead and take a look inside at the Cal Poly Pomona float here at the Rose Parade. All right, party people, so we're going to take a closer look at what's behind the audio for these floats, because I've always wondered, you know, how do they power the sound if they'd have sound for one of these floats? And I have here Pete, who is construction chair for the Cal Poly Pomona site, and he's also a student in engineering for Cal Poly Pomona. How are you?
I'm doing very well, and yourself?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm so stoked to be here because, you know, this is once in a while thing. It's obviously a yearly thing, but not many people get to go behind the scenes and see the construction behind the float. Tell us a little bit about the float construction, and then we'll go into the audio. How long does it take for the float to be built and designed and then implemented right here?
Well, we actually start the design process literally January 2nd when we're given the new theme, and then by about April we've started construction on our new float for the year. It will then be built throughout the year, and late October, the two campuses will bring the two halves of the float together. We'll continue to build in Pomona as one team, and then in December, obviously, late December, about the 20th, we'll move the float here.
Cool. And so talking about the audio aspect, what do you have under the hood, and how do you reproduce sound for the float?
Well, as far as audio goes, there are four 15-inch PV mains that are located at each corner of the float, which then come back to our main power source, which is a 1,000-watt Yamaha power amp, being driven by a DBX, 16-channel dual-band EQ, and a 4-channel mixer, which then gets connected to either an MP3 or a CD player or a laptop, just depending on what we choose for that year.
Right. So this is the unit itself. Let's take a look here. So you have, this is the mixer.
Yes, it is. So we've got the mixer here, which then goes to our DBX, our EQ, then to the Yamaha, and then our speakers are daisy-chained left-right.
And it's all encased in an SKB case, and you're pretty happy with the case?
We're very happy with the case. We wanted to try and keep our weight low so it's easy for us to move it around, and we didn't want to have to deal with a wood case, like a traditional road case, because they're not as impact-resistant. You know, we do have problems with hammers and things flying around occasionally.
Right. And you were telling me that this is the second year for this system. In prior years, you've had a rent system?
That's correct. This is the second full year for this system. The case is actually older. It was part of a system that stopped being used several years ago. We just recycled it, try and save some money.
Nice. And it looks like it took a beating, so a lot of stuff gets, you know, thrown on top of, or, you know, gets mixed up because of the float, the materials that are being used to construct it.
That's correct. It does actually have to deal with, it gets spray foamed, it gets welded over, it gets stepped on. This one got a bath in hydraulic fluid this year. So it does take a beating, but all the electronics we've had here have been more than bulletproof for us.
Cool. So last year it performed very well, right?
Yes, it did.
And this year, or when are you going to install this into the float?
In about 10 minutes.
Really? Oh, yeah. Do you mind if we shoot the installation?
Not at all. That'd be perfect.
Excellent, excellent. So we're going to go ahead and watch Pete install this piece of equipment inside the float. So give us a tour of what's inside.
Okay, well, what we actually got here is there are 4 operators that will be located here. You can see one seat right here. This is for the observer of the float. This is the driver's seat right here. You can see our steering wheel.
Wow.
That's where I'll be sitting. This chair right here is for our drive engine operator. His control box isn't here right now. And then this is where the animation operator will sit, and this is actually the control panel for our animation engine.
Wow.
Located on the wall behind me, these are two of the animation computers that actually power the animation on our float. This assembly of switches here, which is quite large, is our manual animation control. And then this is our electrical breakout box.
I see some XLR cables. Are those DMX?
We do have the option to run DMX from this computer. We actually use XLR for our position feedback of our cylinders.
Oh, wow.
Because it's a well-shielded cable, helps us cut down a lot of the noise. We do have some 50-foot runs of cable going on underneath this float.
That's amazing. And is it noisy back here?
It is very noisy. Immediately on the other side of this wall right here is a V8 engine.
And how do you guys communicate?
They're not in here right now, but we actually use the same headsets that you'll find in a typical NASCAR pit crew.
Wow.
So, dual muff noise canceling headsets so that the four of us can talk to each other. Wow,
that's amazing. And you can see from that little porthole?
Yeah, that little porthole right there is where I can see it from, and then my observer has another one. We're only mandated to have a 180-degree view forward of the float.
Right.
As far as backing up or anything like that, we do have to have somebody else outside of the float walking around giving us directions and pointers. It's very interesting to back up a 55-foot long float.
I'm imagining it, and I'm dreading it if I had to drive it.
It is certainly an experience.
Wow. So where will the audio be installed?
The audio actually gets installed up here on top of the side member.
Oh, okay.
It's the most out of the way, and that way the operator that's sitting here only has to stand up and turn around to get at it. But for most of the parade, it is turned on and then left alone, so it needs to be located somewhere out of the way.
And it will be tied down, or?
Yes, it will get tied down, and then you can see here these blue cables are our actual speaker cables. There's two here, and then there's two over here I gotta find.
I take it that's probably one of the speakers?
That is one of the speakers, yes. It's encased in plastic because, as you can see, it's right next to one of our tires. The tires do pick up anything on the parade route, be it water, droppings. We are behind a couple equestrian units we do have to worry about. And so we want to keep the equipment as clean as we can.
In a situation where rain is present, what do you guys do? Is it the same protocol or business as usual?
It's pretty much business as usual. There's not a whole lot of options. As you can see, we do have a canopy above us up here to try and help keep us a little drier should it rain. But pretty much it's just kind of go for it and hope for the best.
This is great, man. Thank you very much, Pete. And of course, you got your emergency fire extinguisher.
One fire extinguisher for each operator. During a fire drill, we are required to exit with our fire extinguisher.
Wow. Wow, this is amazing. Thank you very much. And we're going to go ahead and take a look back at the whole float itself. Thank you very much, Pete.
Not a problem. Thank you.
All right, so Just for Giggles 63 is actually helping out, volunteering.
Yes, I am.
What you doing?
Cutting the flowers in an angle and then put them in the vials so they can be ready.
What are these going to be used for?
I don't know exactly what part of the float, but it'll be used for the float.
All right, party people, so that is a tour of inside a float, a Rose Parade float, only once a year, watched by millions of people around the world, and I had the opportunity to be inside of it, so it was really amazing. These are a labor of love, a lot of volunteers working their butts off for weeks on end, for months on end, and the culmination just a few days away will be presented to the world on Colorado Boulevard in Pasadena. So this is Jose Heredia with the CrossFitters Show. Seeing you next time. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bear with me for this next one. I am sitting among the Cal Poly students, and I got to tell you, the ground is shaking from my vantage point here as we talk about this fantastic entry by the students, a group of kids who turned their dreams of space travel into reality. That's the inspiration of this year's Cal Poly University's entry, Galactic Expedition. They're putting the final touches on a rocket ship that's covered with more than 8,000 carnations, eucalyptus leaves, cranberry seeds, marigolds, mums, and blue statice. And there's an astronaut there, if you can pick him out, ready to plant the flag. He's deploying from a crane made of oleander. Bob and Steph, I have to say, I feel like I'm back in school. I feel like I'm back in school with all these kids around and seeing the school spirit and all their work put on display. They're so very proud, as you can hear.
You know how they blend that float from two different locations and bring it together for today.